and I see I think what's happening is the old boxing heads, which everyone is at all these networks, they don't know MMA. So all these old boxing heads, they feel like MMA's coming in and disrespecting the sport, and that, you know, if this is all that's left, then boxing's dead and all this stuff. My issue with all this is, and that's why when I saw Max Kellerman, and it pissed me off, man, when I saw Max Kellerman go, listen, and Max Kellerman is, I respect him the most out of any boxing analyst. He's a beast, head of HBO boxing team, all that stuff. And then obviously he's on First Take with Stephen A. Smith. When I saw him say, and he's an educated dude. I think he went to Yale or some shit. He's a Ivy League dude, smart guy, knows boxing better than anyone. And when he goes, I guarantee you Conor McGregor won't land a punch. Yeah, you would have thought he slapped my baby. My shit, I took offense now. Like, oh, hell no. And then that's when I was like, yo, not only will he touch him, he will win at least one round. I can guarantee he wins at least one round. Unless the judges fuck him over. But because it's boxing commission, it's in Las Vegas, and Floyd Mayweather has those guys on his bankroll. Then maybe he's screwed. But I guarantee you, Conor McGregor touches him. I will bet my entire life savings on it. That's just stupid. That's like saying, oh, Michael Phelps isn't going to get wet when he jumps in the pool. He's going to get wet. The other problem I have with it, and so I bet Max Kellerman $100,000 that Conor wins a round and will touch him. Obviously, the touching one's a joke, but he will win a round. People will be surprised. The other thing is people go, it's like a soccer player jumping in playing baseball. No, it's not, you fucking morons. It is not like that. It's a combat. Both of them are part of combat sports, mixed martial arts. Boxing is part of mixed martial arts. Conor has sparred endless rounds in boxing. Not to the level of Floyd Mayweather, but still combat sport. They're still punching each other in the face. It's like one does the breaststroke. They're both in the fucking water. One does the breaststroke. The other does the backstroke. That's a better analogy than baseball to rugby, or where the fuck these idiots on Fox and ESPN are comparing it to. And also, I respect Matt Kellerman, so my fans, I see it on there. I don't need you guys to disrespect them. You guys don't have to call him a moron or whatever you want to call him. You don't need to do all that. Like, you can, the bet, and that's fun. I don't need you to disrespect any of those guys. They know what they know, and they're uneducated about Conor McGregor. This other thing, that night of the fight, there's only one man that walks into that ring who's a finisher, and his name's not Floyd Mayweather. Conor McGregor, and I'm sure you want to get this because you've had 1,000 boxing fights and clearly have brain trauma. But the thing is Conor McGregor's the only finisher there. When Conor McGregor fights in the UFC, I was a Golden Gloves boxer, which isn't to the level of you or a pro boxer, but I've had some boxing experience. I've had experience in mixed martial arts at the very highest level in the world. The pressure and the margin for error in a UFC fight is so much higher than a boxing fight, especially at 147 or 154 pounds with Floyd Mayweather fights. When Conor goes into that fight and he's fighting a bigger guy, Eddie Alvarez, who's, he's a Hall of Famer. When he fights Chad Mendes, when he fights Jose Aldo, who's one of the best strikers in the history of combat sports, boxing, kickboxing, take whatever you want to do. And he hasn't lost in 10 years, and he starches him in 13 seconds. You know how many ways Conor can lose to that man, opposed to Floyd Mayweather fighting Berto or whoever, or Shane Mosley or Canelo? You know how many ways he can lose to Jose Aldo? Through kicks, punches, elbows, ground and pound, submission. He has a million ways to lose, and he still shows up and passes the fucking test every single time on the biggest stage against guys he probably shouldn't be beating, that no one gave him a shot for. He goes up in weight class. Then he fights a guy named Nate Diaz at 170 pounds. He fights at 145 pounds. He fights a guy who walks around about 190. He loses to him, or loses because he never fought at that weight, and everyone wants to say, oh, he got outstruck by Nate Diaz. That does not matter. That is an MMA fight at that weight class. That is not the same. The distance is different. We'll get into that. Why I think Conor's actually going to be successful in this fight. So he fights a guy at 170. He's cutting down from 190. Wins rounds and then ends up losing, right? His first fight, he gets choked out. First loss in the UFC. Dana White and his management go up to this kind of guy Conor is. Goes up to him and goes, hey, man, if you're going to fight Nate Diaz again, has to be at 55. Conor goes, nope.
Yeah, I love that.
Nope. He goes, dude, it has to be at 55. He goes, Not happening, man. The only fight I want is at 70. I want to prove people I can pass this test. Beats him in 5 rounds. He ends up beating him in 5. Now, if he won a 6th round, he might have been in trouble. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Knocks him down multiple times, beats him in 5 rounds. Then goes to 55 and fights Eddie Alvarez. The whole point here is one of these guys is fighting with insane pressure, and he's a finisher. One of them is not. You watch Floyd Mayweather's last 3 fights and tell me he's fighting for a finish.